everybody, welcome to Thursday's video. Hopefully a short video for you today. We're going to wrap up factoring by inspection, practice that a little bit more, and then you'll have your weekly assignment. So tomorrow is a no school day, so you won't have anything tomorrow. That's why I'm giving the weekly assignment then, and we'll roll through from there. Still trying to figure out exactly what assessment looks like. I've kind of changed my mind a few times. I've been given different directions kind of from people above my head. So I apologize for maybe the miscommunication with assessment. There's going to be bigger assessments, smaller assessments, and then maybe some in the middle as well. Once I actually figure out what that looks like, once I figure out how the weightings will actually go, I will let you guys know. And I'll put out a video explaining all of that. For now, the little Tuesday one, that was a really small one, so that'll count towards your grade, but not a lot. The one today, and typically those Wednesday ones, those will kind of be the middle of the road. They'll affect your grade and a bit more than the small ones, but not all the way. And I think we're figuring out some sort of bigger assessment. So everything could change, but I wanted to be upfront and clear with you. And so that's how assessment is going. And once I know for sure, I'll lock it down and I'll let you guys know. That said, let's jump into today's lesson. And here we are on page 343, where we're going to continue looking at inspection. And this is going to be day 2 of that. So really nothing new. We're just trying to put those ideas together. So a review of factoring by inspection. The idea of factoring is to write something as a multiplication again. It's to go backwards and say, this is the result of a multiplication. What was that multiplication? So if I look at x squared plus bx plus c, what we looked at is I really kind of had 2 brackets, okay? 2 binomials, okay? X and X at the front, and then we tried to figure out, well, what would have to go on both ends? What would the constant of each binomial be? And what we figured out is those new numbers are going to multiply, right, to the constant, to the C value, and then they are going to add to my middle term. So if I wanted to factor x squared plus 6x plus 9, I need 2 numbers that multiply to 9 and add to 6. They multiply to the constant, the n term, and they add to the middle one, the x term. If I wanted to factor x squared plus x minus 12, I need to figure out something that multiplies to negative 12 and adds to 1, positive 1. Okay, so that's what we're going to do more of. And we're just going to look at some more examples today, but that's really it. Okay, from yesterday, if the product is positive, then my 2 numbers are both the same sign. They're either both positive or they're both negative. But if I have a negative product, well, that means I have 1 and 1, because a negative times a positive gives me that negative result. So let's go ahead and factor. Okay, x squared minus x minus 12. My magic combo, the thing I'm looking for, I'm saying, hey, what multiplies to negative 12 and adds to negative 1? The x term was negative 1. Well, if I'm multiplying to a negative, I know one of them is negative and one of them is positive. So that helps me out. And then I think, okay, well, what kind of things could I choose to get to an addition of negative 1? I think maybe 12 times 1. Well, no, that doesn't really work. 2 times 6. That could give me like negative 4, but that doesn't work. 3 times 4. Okay, 3 times 4 gets me to 12. And if I made the 4 negative and the 3 positive, yeah, absolutely, that adds to negative 1. So there's really no secret there. It's just, can I use my number sense? Can I figure out those numbers? And then for there, I'm good. Because I know this trinomial was the result of 2 binomials multiplying. The first terms came from an x and an x. And then my magic combo fills right in. Minus 4 plus 3. This product is the factored version of this. Okay, I'm saying that this, if I wanted to write it as the product, I could write it as this. You have 2 factors. X minus 4 is a factor. X plus 3 is a factor. Those are the 2 factors. I've completed the factoring. If I wanted to check, and this is not something I would get you to do every time, but it's something you could certainly do, is I can actually multiply it out because I have an equal sign, right? I'm saying that this product is the exact same as what I originally started with. So I can multiply it out. Distribute your x. You get x squared plus 3x. Distribute your negative 4 minus 4x minus 12. And if I simplify that, I get x squared minus x minus 12. Hey, that is what I started with. So it's not a formal check. It's not a real check. It's just kind of informal off on the side. Oh yeah, these are the same thing. Okay, I did get the same answer. Okay, I'll do one more for you, and then I'll let you try ahead. Okay, so for B, multiply to negative 18, add to 3. I'm looking to factor x squared plus 3x minus 18, multiply to the constant, add to the x term, or add to the middle. I got to figure that out. I got to figure out what multiplies to 18, and then I somehow have to get it to add to 3. Again, I notice I'm multiplying to a negative, so one of them is going to be negative, one of them isn't. I'm thinking maybe 1 times 18, no. 2 times 9, no, that maybe gets me to 7. 3 times 6, yeah, absolutely. If I had negative 3 and 6. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. I add those together, I get 3. Perfect. I have my magic combo. That means I can factor it. X minus 3 times x plus 6. What I'm looking for is patterns in the multiplication because I know how this multiplies out. The 3 and the 6 are going to multiply to give me my constant, and then I'm going to add the middle terms together to get that positive 3. Okay, so if I wanted to, again, yeah, maybe I do a quick little informal check. Okay, I think this is supposed to multiply out to x squared plus 3x minus 18. Distribute, 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 distribute. I get x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 18. If I gather those together, yeah, I get x squared plus 3x minus 18. So your check worked. So no, you don't have to check, but I just want to emphasize that's what we're doing, is we're trying to take this thing and write it as a product. Okay, so this one, my two factors are x plus 6 and x minus 3. This is the factored version, and I have my two factors. Okay, do C ahead of me, and then I'll jump back and give you the answer before moving on. So go ahead and pause and move on.
A few minutes later.
And there you go. Your answer for C, a minus 8, a plus 1. Hopefully you're able to do that ahead of me. And now let's go and move on to the next question. So next one, it says factor where possible, and I've got 4 to do. Well, all right, I'll do the first one, I'll do the second one, and then maybe I'll let you do the other one. So a squared plus 6a minus 27. Okay, I'm looking for that magic combo. Multiply to negative 27, add to 6. Well, it multiplies to a negative, so I know one of them is negative, one of them is positive. And I think those numbers are 9 and 3. In order to add to that positive 6, the 9, the bigger one, would have to be positive. Well, there you go. Now I can factor. A minus 3, a plus 9. Okay. If I wanted to check, I absolutely could. But in this case, I really only have two factors. I have a minus 3 and a plus 9. Yeah, I could multiply it out, but I'm not going to in this case. We'll just move on. Okay. B, 2t squared minus 14t plus 20. Well, I get a little worried because I have a 2t squared. And right now, factoring by inspection, the only way I know how to factor is if your lead coefficient is 1. Like I have a squared, or I have x squared, or I have b squared, not 2 or 3 or whatever. I have to have that just kind of plain term out front, the coefficient of 1. So I'm a little bit concerned. But then what I remember is, hey, I can always factor out a GCF. That's the first type of factoring we learned. And all of these terms, 2t squared, negative 14t, and 20, are all divisible by 2. So I can factor out the 2. I get left with t squared minus 7t plus 10. And now, if I look at the thing on the inside, that is something I could factor by inspection. So always, 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 always remember, no matter how many types of factoring we learn, I always factor out a GCF first. That's always my first thing I look for. Because now I can say, okay, multiply to 10, add to negative 7. Okay, well, this one I'm multiplying to a positive. I'm multiplying to positive 10. So my numbers are either both positive or both negative. I know they're both the same sign. And since I'm adding to negative 7, those numbers have to be negative because the only way I can add to a negative is by having negatives. And then I think, well, what multiplies to 10? 1 and 10. No, that'd give me negative 11. 2 and 5. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Negative 2 times negative 5 is 10. Negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. So I can go ahead and factor. I already have my factor at 2. And now I have factored by inspection. X minus 2, x minus 5. If I were to multiply this out, I would get 2t squared minus 14t plus 20. They're the same thing. I've just written it back in the convenient way. So this one would have 3 factors. It has a factor of 2, a factor of x minus 2, and a factor of x minus 5. Okay, all together, that is the factored version of what I started with. There you go. C and D, the last questions we're going to do today. And I want you to do them ahead of me, and then I will give you the answer.
6 months later.
And we are back. And if I'm looking at C, and maybe you guys looked at it too, I need to multiply to negative 6 and add to negative 3. Well, this is like one of the examples we looked at yesterday. That is not possible. So this thing is actually not factorable. I can't do that. Those numbers don't exist. So sometimes, very, very rarely, I'll give you the non-factorable. What I would say is do not expect it to be non-factorable. Expect it to be factorable, especially if it's on an assignment. I'm giving you ones that I want you to factor. But know that not everything is factorable. There are only certain cases where I can find this magic combo. So that one, maybe a bit of a trick question, not factorable. And the last one, 4x to the 4 minus 16x cubed minus 20x squared. Before I even start, I remove that common factor of 4x squared. And then I have a nice little inspection that I can factor on the inside. And there's my final answer. That's the last one in the AVP I want you to do. I'm just going to add one. And you don't even have to write this down. I'll just do it. I just quickly wanted to talk. So x squared plus 5x plus 6. I'm saying factor this thing. Okay, we'll multiply to 6, add to 5. Those numbers are 3 and 2. And a question you might be wondering is, okay, well, what if I put the 3 first, x plus 3 and x plus 2? Could I also put the 2 first, x plus 2 and x plus 3? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, both of those are fine. So I am writing them in whatever order. I got 3 and 2, but if you got 2 and 3, doesn't matter. Okay, the order you're putting these things, it's just this times this, and it doesn't matter the way I write it. So just keep that in mind. And maybe when you look at an answer key, the factors might be written in a different order. That's fine. You're still just multiplying 2 pieces. The order doesn't really matter. And that is it. That's all I wanted to show. So homework, page 344, you're going to know number 2, and then 3, you're just going to do the odd ones. And then you have your weekly assignment that will be posted as well. And you can do that one, submit it, and it'll count towards your final grade. So there you go. And that is the video for today. We are pretty confident in factoring by inspection now. And we also know how to factor at the GCF. So those are the 2 kinds of factoring we know for now. So go ahead and try the homework, only a couple of questions. And then you have your weekly assignment that you can do. You have the whole weekend to do it, but I would suggest just get it done today, and then you don't have to worry about it, and then we will be good to go. So as always, ask me questions in the Google form. I'll get back to you. Let me know if you have anything you're wondering about, need to know, whatever, and I'll do my best to help you. Book an appointment, all of that. Smash that like button. Have a fantastic weekend. You guys get next week off. There is no new material next week. That's spring break. We'll call it spring break. And yeah, have a fantastic day. Good luck on the assignment.